Hello, everybody. It's 𝗤𝘂𝗍 Eisenhower. I am joined with Ariadne Avalon, and I'm so excited to have this opportunity to talk with her. We are doing a project together, and she is the creatrix of this project, and it's the freaking Evolutionary Virtual Summit, Evolutionary Healer Virtual Summit and book launch. So you are the creator of this and
Yes.
asked me to be a part of it, and I'm so thrilled that you did. So talk to us a little bit about what inspired you to create this project.
Well, I went sort of through my own dark night of the soul and took a couple of years off from, being in the public sphere and being in business. And just ended up doing some incredible deep healing and knew that it was time for me to move out into the world again. And I was just asking guidance on how I can contribute to the evolution of humanity. And I've done a couple of other summits before, and this is sort of what ended up coming through me, and it sort of went from there. I started connecting with people, just following the energy with people that are in the healing and ascension milieu, for lack of a better word. And yeah, people just ended up showing up and coming together, and voila, we've got the Evolutionary Healer Virtual Summit and book launch.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And there's a lot that you offer in this, and there's like more than one option, and we'll, talk about it towards the end. But I definitely want to, kind of go into just the times that we're in right now and just the importance of doing, something like this with so much that's going on the planet, with the need for just this raise in consciousness and this understanding of what our human potential is on multiple levels. I mean, it just seems like, having all these different perspectives, this kind of thing is going to give everybody something. So kind of talk to us about this collaborative effort and the amount of people involved and just, the big intent behind having, how you chose the people that you chose.
Well, it's really interesting too, because I certainly did not plan on launching the project in September. I did not plan on holding the container for this project during the COVID pandemic, scamdemic, whatever you want to address it as, right? We were sort of set to launch in the spring, but when everything ended up changing and altering and we got incarcerated into this, alternative reality that really isn't the truth, but keeps us within the controller, scope of things, everything just kind of ended up sort of slowing down in some ways. There were people in the project that had to deal with not having, homes because they had had to move and all of these kinds of things, right? And people that were, all of us were holding space throughout all of humanity to, keep this together and also heal ourselves, because there were so many energies that we also needed to integrate, right? And finding the right time where people are actually, back into, working or at least attempting to create for themselves took us to know. Right? How the cosmic shifts have been since 2020 started, right? And many of them have been intense and have required a tremendous amount of integration and deep healing. And we followed the energy, and this is where we are today. So, yeah. And I ended up asking quite a few people. Many of them were already busy with other projects. Some of them, it just didn't resonate. It seems that everybody seems to be busy doing something at this point in life, right? So I just kept on persevering, and it just all sort of ended up coming together. And everyone sort of in the project, they're different, right? People focus on trauma healing specifically, or connecting with creativity and having that be a connection to God and source, whatever you call the universal intelligences. There are people that are writing on astrology. There are people that are also have written a chapter on the alien agenda and how to get out of it and, unravel yourself from mind control and implantation. Emotional healing. And I think the thing that's really important is that so many people, get on the whole ascension bandwagon and they're really up here in the ethers, or they're on the false ascension timeline. But what's really important for our evolution and our ascension is to actually end up healing ourselves. And so much of that involves healing our trauma and, our emotional pain. And it's not just trauma and pain from this lifetime. We're clearing for our lineages, and we're clearing for multiple lifetimes. And, we're healing hybridization trauma and all of these other things at the hands of the negative alien agenda, right? So it's a very intense, incredible challenge. But I mean, with everything that's streaming in now cosmically, and all of the love and the crystal Sophia that's opening up on, in our hearts and through humanity, I guess it's, it's all worth it, and we all signed up for it, right? So yeah, I just want to, I would like people to realize that we're here for a reason. We chose to come down to earth at this time, and we need to heal ourselves. I mean, you've mentioned, in some of your videos before in the past, is that humanity is going through the dark night of the soul, right? So we have to go through our own dark night of the soul as well, in order to be able to shift what's going on, in the 3D realm, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's a war on consciousness. And if we don't
Totally.
recognize the inner work we need to do to unplug from those forces that are trying to control us and kind of trick us with these psychological operations so that we give our power away, the timing couldn't be better. I mean, it's just amazing that you've done this. I'm so appreciative that you brought me on board. I've been trying to publish books for a long time.
Yes.
And I'm just glad to, so we each have a chapter, right? So what's kind of like the format that people will expect?
Yeah, so there's, short bio, and then chapters are generally, I would say, about 2,000 to 3,500 words. And they share a story, they share wisdom, but they also offer tools, techniques, suggestions on how you can integrate the information in the chapters into your life, right? So yeah, it's definitely kind of a manual, but it's also a collection of stories based on people's personal experiences and professional experiences.
Right, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so huge. And just the balancing of energies as well. I mean, of the masculine and feminine, and that's something we need to do within ourselves, of course, in our energy bodies. And it's sometimes thought of as like an outward gender thing, when it's really just kind of like reigniting that divine blueprint in order to find balance in our own systems, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've only, speaking of the divine masculine and feminine, it doesn't necessarily have to be, men and women. And I asked so many men to, if they were interested in being part of this project. I just kept on persevering with that. And we've only got one fellow in the project. Oh. And that's Jaden Fox, and he's got some radical ways of dealing with manipulation, interference, and the negative alien agenda, for lack of a better word, right? So and I kind of felt sorry for the guy, because there's all of these 17 other women healers that are doing their feminine sort of stuff, and showering light and healing and all of that within our tribe that we've ended up creating on Facebook, and he's this one solo guy that steps in, steps out, steps in, steps out, right? So yeah, it's been pretty funny.
That is funny. Yeah, and it's really good that you're drawing light and attention to the negative alien agenda. I think that's a really tough one for people to work out.
Oh, gosh,
we're dealing with a multi-layer, reality that has a lot of advanced technology. And if we don't fully understand it, then we don't know what we're up against. So I think this is going to be a massive activation. And so, yeah. And when do people, go ahead.
Well, the thing is, it's just like, they're totally rolling out and upgrading the AI systems and the group mind think, and, just pummeling humanity with it, right? All of this fear generation and separation and attacking people for not wearing masks, like that's all being, promoted through frequencies that are affecting humans, right? So it's like we need to really get strong within ourselves and unravel from any wounding that we have, or negative thinking and negative ego, ego mind, because that's how they end up getting in and attacking us energetically and then incarcerating us into their program, right? And, the controllers, they're connected up into, the alien agenda and have been for millennia, really, as long as people have been on Earth. So we have to really acknowledge the fact that, if we don't have memories of, being abducted, all of us have still been affected by the negative alien agenda through hybridization and all sorts of traumatic experiences, right? So the more we get into healing all of that, the freer we are, the more we can embody our God nature, right? I mean, it's not easy work. Like, it's super exhausting and draining. And sometimes, it's like, God, how am I going to get through all of this? But the energies that are coming in are just extraordinary. And the love that we can experience is just like, unlike anything I've ever experienced in my life, right? It's just like, that's where I want to be. I'll do whatever I can to be in that space of that God love and that, 𝗬𝗂𝗍𝗍 expanding my heart,
Absolutely. So beautifully said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Okay. And a lot of people, I mean, they can wipe memories. A lot of people are walking around and have no idea, they might even had a 20 in back. I mean, it's not just a few are really able to recall, their memories. And so, yeah, there's a lot of, there's a lot that's going to light up for people reading this to help them, because when you read something, then all of a sudden an activation starts to happen and you notice a release and then you start to feel lighter. You might, face some uncomfortable spots because the unconscious is, getting some attention. Yeah. Talk to us a bit about that. I mean, we're easily mind controlled as a humanity. I wouldn't say, every individual, there's so many star seeds here, but the unconsciousness, I mean, there's so much about our dormant DNA and our unconscious self that, I mean, if we were able to see it, most people would be shocked if they could see the different technologies and mechanisms that they use in order to, control us, even in the astral. So that a lot of that's sounds like.
Well, what I've really found most effective is letting go of and stepping through the density that my wounding and my unhealed pain ends up holding. And as I do that, then I become aware of how certain aliens or timelines where I've been wounded or whatever, those end up then coming into my consciousness, right? I'm not necessarily activating everything as I go along. It's like I'm walking through the dark and then the light shows up and I have greater awareness. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then you offer things, and Lisa Renee offers awarenesses, and there's many other ascension guides out there that are obviously bringing these energies in and sharing what they're perceiving, and it's just like, oh, that makes total sense. It's no wonder I am dealing with this, that, or that, right? Like it's all cosmological, and it's just this one source energy that's coming through and activating us wherever we are. And it's not just an activation; it's also bringing up the unconsciousness for healing. Right? We're not just going to get all activated and multidimensional without looking at our shit, right? Like that's so crucial. Like the ascension movement, 85-90% of it is like healing our emotional trauma, right? And letting go of the negative ego. It's not just, oh, let's go to 5D and like hang out there, right? It's just, there's so much more to be able to hold those frequencies that we need to let go of within ourselves, right?
Absolutely. We have to prepare the human vessel. We have to make space for these greater energies and learn how to maintain our energetic field on all levels, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical.
Absolutely.
We're elemental beings, and, and it's amazing just beyond the 3D. There's so much to return to. And in these times where everything's trying to push us into further enslavement, these sort of projects and things that just expand instead of get more and more restricted and shut down and in fear is just a huge step for all of us to take. And it's such a great example for what everybody can do in these times. So maybe another quick question, as you see just you mentioned the masking and the pandemic and all these different rollouts of, this agenda, this alien agenda, which people might not associate with an alien agenda. What are you feeling in the here and now? as far as where we are as a humanity?
In the here and now and where we are. Well, I guess there's a bifurcation of timelines, right? And people who are aligning with healing, awakening, and ascension are going to be existing in a completely different reality than the fear-based mainstream that's in a lineup to get the vaccination that, the Antichrist Bill Gates is saying isn't even guaranteed to work. And don't get me wrong, sometimes, when I hear, oh yeah, Bill Gates wants to keep everybody at home in the house till 2022, I'm just like, oh my God, it's like the power that the controllers have in the mainstream. I'm not going to say I don't feel threatened about it sometimes either, but the connection to source and the faith and just knowing that it's all streaming in right now, and the more we open to receiving it, the greater catalyst we're going to be for shifting beyond this scandemic, plandemic incarceration, right? Like it's all up to us where we put our energy and facing our fears and just bringing in that cosmic love of Mother, Father, God, and Christos Sophia. It's the answer to all our problems.
It really is. I've been immersed in this really most of my life. I was getting downloads about all this
yes.
as a child, and I know these terminologies are difficult for people, but we are very aware of New Age deceptions and how these concepts can go over people's head to the point of them getting cynical and almost just not wanting to look at it, and so kind of create a reaction of, oh, that's just crazy, or oh, just finding some sort of projection in order to avoid it. But I mean, we're talking some really heavy duty research and experiences and past life recall. We've all done a tremendous amount of inner work, and the exopolitical picture weaves right into the spiritual, of course. And there's tons of whistleblowers. I mean, people cannot deny the alien aspect of our reality, and disclosure has been a hot topic for a long time, and how that threads into ascension. How would you say those two things thread in together? And then
the thing that I never really realized until I actually started writing my chapter and doing some research in my own spiritual journey and history was that, or herstory, or however you want to call it, was that the acceptance, for lack of a better word, and acknowledgement of the cosmic Christ, right? The cosmic Christos energy. And the fact that, the cosmic Christos comes from Sirius and is, a multi-dimensional, extra-dimensional being that's come down to Earth, and acknowledging that history and the truth of that history is all part of disclosure too, right? Like I thought the whole disclosure thing was just like disclosing, the Greys and the Dracos and the alien agenda, but it's, our whole galactic history, right? And it was, those negative aliens that ended up bringing the Christos people, down into the fall of humanity. And, that's where we ended up losing our God beingness. It is a very real thing, and it is exciting and extraordinary, and, enables you to transcend all other, limitations and fears and mediocrity and, just this 3D reality that, I mean, it's beautiful. The earth is gorgeous, and the love that we have with human beings, and even the pain that we end up having to heal, right? Like that is so precious and so valuable in our own personal growth and our healing journey, right? Like, and oh gosh, I've shed tons of tears and had to experience so many challenges just in this lifetime, right? That were heart-wrenching. But the beauty of the heart that is wounded, that opens up and heals, and brings in that light, that is a beautiful thing about being a human. Even though, you're in pain, that pain turns into the love of God, really. I mean, and that's the only way you can receive, these extraordinary energies, is to heal that pain, right?
Absolutely. Yes. That's the antidote, and what alchemizes our soul into just the return to ourselves, the return home, the return to source, the return to the cosmic trinity. And our physical body responds, it activates, it upgrades, and then all of a sudden we've got these extraordinary abilities that can handle all these assaults, because we're coming from a level of consciousness that is not immersed in a programming. It's reconnected, and that's what it's all about. and those histories, those stories, the true sciences have been kept from us. We weren't raised on them. And so it's great to be a part of a team with you guys and so many of us on the planet that are shedding light on our true divine inheritance, I guess you could say. And our architecture is made of it. So it's not outer information. It's really an activation and a transformation.
And it's like such a beautiful, so many people shun the whole notion of God, right? Because they think it's the Christian God or this, traditional religious God. But I mean, it's just this unconditional, incredible love that is, there to support you and love you and carry you through and honor you for embodying it and attempting to embody it, right? Like, I mean, the journey to connection with source and is just way beyond going to church and, preaching, getting preached at and appeasing your sins, right? Because that whole story is just a lie that is crucified humanity, right? Like God is cosmic love, right? Like, so, it's a trip and a half, like I tell you, it's like, and yeah, I'd like to encourage everybody to get on board.
Oh my goodness, you're so amazing. I'm so glad you instigated and initiated this amazing project. Anything you want to share about that we haven't been able to share, and maybe give us a little bit of info about what happens when you click onto like an affiliate link? There's like a free thing and then some bonuses. Take us into all that.
Absolutely. So we are in the process of starting to launch the summit. And in that summit, I am interviewing 17 of the authors and healers, right? They're author healer type people. And when you sign up, you are able to watch all of those interviews for free. Right. And many of those interviews also have meditations, clearings, activations within them, and they run for 24 hours. There is also a bonus package that we've ended up putting together for people who are interested in purchasing it. And it's got one-on-one sessions. It's got group work with some of the healers. It's got deeper clearings and activations from the healers, discounts on high-end ticket items. I think our bonuses total over $12,000. So there's also the option to purchase the 𝗏𝗏𝗿𝗏 VIP pass. So that will give you lifetime access to all of our interviews. And then you also end up getting audio versions of the interviews and then all of the incredible bonuses that we offer. So we have a Facebook group too. So once you end up signing in, we can give you the information to that, and you can hang out with the healers and ask questions. And we're doing Facebook Lives to build up to the summit. So we'd love to have you join us.
Wow. So when they click on, they can choose out of these options and
they click on the link will take them to the summit. It's totally free to sign up. They don't even have to they don't have to purchase the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 VIP pack. They can if they like, but they don't. And once they're in, they are available. Our interviews actually end up starting going live on the 1st of September, but they can hang out with us in the Facebook group and view all of the interviews for 9 days till the summit's done at absolutely no charge.
Right. Gotcha. So the VIP is just a lot of stuff between now and then. And all these different things that are accessible that are going to be listed when they click onto that, or before, obviously they click.
Well, the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 VIP pass is actually going to be available on available for people September 1st, right? Because we don't want to end up, because we can't go ahead and give them.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to be able to go ahead and give them access to the video interviews, right, until the summit ends up actually starting itself. So on September 1st, they get access to all of the interviews, they get access to the bonuses, and that's where they start from.
Right, and the free one is the free interview.
Absolutely. Yep, free interviews. Yeah,
that's an incredible offer. I had a few people ask questions, so I wanted to make sure that I brought their questions in case anybody else might have had them. Any final thoughts? Anything we weren't able to cover that you want to make sure we share?
No, I am just so honored and delighted that you managed to contribute to this project, because I know how busy you are and how much work you do putting this consciousness out to humanity. And, it's definitely been a bit of a challenge connecting with you, but we made it all happen. And I'm just so honored and touched that you've managed to be part of this.
Thank you for just staying persistent and doing this and just being here on Earth. And it's such a beautiful thing for us all to, come together. And I feel so much positive energy. I mean, it's very much a roller coaster in these times, but these are the places that we can feel into the true organic ascension timeline, and nothing can destroy it. We can only get it distracted away from it. So let's always remember that. And this book is going to be such a great guide to always have with you anytime you need a reminder and the need to see the bigger picture. And thank you for your brilliance and beauty. And thank you for having me.
Oh, I hope we can do something again in the future together, Laura.
Okay, me too. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. You definitely,
right.
you definitely want to check this out. Okay, take care.
Okay, much love.
Much love.